How to install your Delphi ionizer. This video supports the instructions in your owner's manual. When you open the box for your Delphi ionizer, you will have these items included. This is the base unit that will be located under the counter. This is the faucet tower that will be installed at your sink. On the top of the tower is a control pad with a power button, the filtered, alkaline, and acidic buttons. On the front is a display panel that will show what setting you're on, and the filter counter. The larger spout on top is for the alkaline water. The smaller spout on the bottom is usually the acidic water. The faucet also will have the mounting nut and a rubber gasket on it. These are used to attach the faucet to the counter or the sink. You'll need to remove the mounting nut completely before you start the installation, but do not remove the rubber gasket. Keep that with the faucet while the installation is in process. It also includes an owner's manual, an external housing wrench. Your Delphi includes a single external housing. Depending on your configuration, you may have a double or triple housing or a Spartan instead. It also includes a 1 micron carbon block filter, an angle stop adapter used to connect to the cold water line, a bottle of reagent drops to test your pH, a pH chart, and there's a spare fuse in the package, a roll of Teflon plumber's tape, two straight couplings, 1/4 inch and 1 5/16 inch, it includes a 90-degree 1/4 inch coupling. This is optional. You may not need to use this. It's included to help route your tubing in a nicer way if you need it. It also includes a handy valve. This also is optional. It's simply an additional shutoff valve. If you are going to use this, it would be placed between the T-valve and the ionizer. There are several lengths of tubing. One length of 5/16 inch tubing, and then there will be 3 pieces of 1/4 inch tubing. And lastly, it includes a small Allen wrench. This is used in case you need to remove the tips from the faucet. The tips are secured to the faucet with an Allen type screw. The first step is to prepare a spot and install your faucet tower. You will need a 1.5 inch hole at the sink. This could be an existing hole like for a soap dispenser, or you can have a hole cut to accommodate the faucet. The faucet has 2 tubes attached to it, a 1/4 inch tube that is for the acidic water and a 5/16 inch tube for the alkaline water. It also has a data cable connected to it. This will connect to the base unit. Remove the two red plugs that are on the ends of the tubing. They just simply pull off. You won't need those any longer. You can set them aside or keep them with your spare parts. You will need to use the two straight couplings. Attach the 5/16 inch coupling to the 5/16 inch piece of tubing. These are quick connect fittings. To install the tubing, make sure to press it all the way into the fitting. These types of fittings are used in several places on the ionizer. There's a collet at the opening of each fitting. This is a locking ring, and to remove the tubing from the fitting, you will need to press on the collet, pushing it in towards the fitting while removing the tubing. And again, when installing the tubing into the fittings, be sure to press the tubing all the way into the fitting and then give a little tug to make sure it's locked in place. Once the coupling is installed on the 5/16 inch tubing, connect it to the tubing on the faucet. Next, do the same thing with one of the pieces of 1/4 inch tubing and the 1/4 inch coupling. Install the tubing all the way into the coupling, give it a tug, then connect this to the 1/4 inch tubing on the faucet. These tubing extensions can be trimmed at a later point to fit your installation. Now you will need to, with the rubber gasket still on the faucet, you will need to insert the tubing and the data cable through the hole at the faucet. So the tubes are through the hole now. I'm also passing the data cable through the hole. Make sure that the two couplings go down through the hole and install the faucet into the hole. You will then secure the faucet under the counter with the mounting nut that you removed already. The next step is to prepare the base unit for the installation. To prepare the base unit, turn it around so that you can see the back. On the bottom of the base unit is the tap water inlet with the flow restrictor and dust filter installed. This is where the tubing from your cold water line will connect, bringing the water into the ionizer. This is the acidic outlet fitting, where your acidic tubing from the faucet will connect and the acidic water will exit. This is the fitting for the alkaline water. It will connect to the tubing for your faucet. It's where the alkaline water exits the base unit. This is the connector for the data cable coming from the faucet. This is the fuse holder and the power switch. Of course, there's the power cord. This is the mineral port. If you're using a calcium insert, which is optional, it will be installed here. This will be explained later. And this is the filter door. To prepare the base, first remove the plugs that are in the alkaline and acidic outlets. These again are quick connect fittings, so don't forget to press on the collet while you pull the plug out of the fitting. When you remove these plugs, some water may come out. This is normal. This is because the unit is tested before it is shipped out to you. You can keep the plugs and just keep them with your spare parts in case you might need them in the future. After those are removed, remove the filter door. Do this by pressing upward. The door will slide upward about a ½ inch. Then angle the door out and remove the door. There will be a rubber filter block. This is simply installed for shipping to try to hold the filter in place. You will need to remove this. This won't be used again in the future. You can put it aside with your other spare parts. Make sure the filter is properly seated before you proceed. At least rotate the filter several times back and forth to make sure it's well seated. You may need to remove the filter and reinstall it to have a proper seat. Now that the base is prepared, we're ready to proceed with the rest of the installation. Now that the base is prepared, the next step is to install the T-valve at the cold water line. This will be shown with a series of pictures. Once the T-valve is installed in the cold water line, the next step is to install the external housing and filter. Your unit comes with a single external housing and a 1 micron carbon block for pre-filtration to protect your ionizer. The first step is to open the housing and install the filter. Use the filter wrench to open the housing. Slide the wrench onto the housing and turn it to the left to loosen the housing. Then unscrew the housing the rest of the way by hand. Install the 1 micron carbon block into the housing. It's a bidirectional filter, so there isn't a particular side that goes up. Reinstall the top onto the housing. First tighten it by hand, but then finish tightening it using the filter wrench. Make sure to tighten the housing completely to prevent leaks. Next, use a length of tubing to connect to the cold water T-valve. Insert the tubing into the connection on the T-valve. Then install the other end of the tubing into the port on the housing marked in. Again, these are all quick connect fittings. Press the tubing in all the way. Using another length of tubing, connect it to the port labeled out. Now you will need to flush the filter before proceeding. To do this, use a bucket to put the tubing into the bucket to catch the water. You will need to open the T-valve to start the water flow. When the valve is in this position, it's closed, not allowing water to flow through the tubing. Turn the valve so that it's in the open position. The water will now flow through the tubing and through the filter housing and filter, and out the other piece of tubing into your bucket. Flush the filter for 1 to 2 minutes or until the water runs clear. Then turn the valve back to the off position at the T-valve. You're now ready to install the base unit. This is the single housing that is included with your ionizer. Your configuration might be different. You might have a double, triple housing, or a Spartan. The procedure will be the same. Your next step is to install the base unit, connecting the tubing to the base and connecting the faucet to the base. Using the tubing that's connected to the outside of the filter housing, position your base under the counter where it will sit after installation. This tubing will connect on the bottom. You can trim this piece of tubing to the proper length for your installation. You will install this tubing to the tap outlet on the bottom of the ionizer. Again, this tubing is coming from the port on the filter housing, the external filter housing, marked out. Connect the tubing into the dust filter flow restrictor fitting at the tap inlet on the bottom of the ionizer. This is important. Do not connect this tubing to the port on the back. Once this is connected, you can stand the base unit upright. The next step is to connect the tubing from the faucet to the base. Start with the 1/4-inch tubing coming from the faucet. Connect this to the acidic outlet on the base unit. Next, from the faucet, install the 5/16 inch tube to the alkaline outlet on the back of the base. Again, these tubes can be trimmed to the proper length for your installation. Once the tubing is all connected, you're ready to turn on your source water again. Use the valve on the T-valve and slowly turn it to the open position. Once all the tubing has been connected, the next step is to connect the data cable from the faucet to the base unit. Plug the data cable in and gently install it in the connector. Now you can plug the unit power cord into the power outlet, and then turn the unit on using the power button on the back. Now that the unit is fully connected, it's time to turn the cold water back on at the T-valve. Slowly open the valve to the fully on position. Power the faucet on using the power button on top. Then choose the filtered setting. The faucet will light up. The first time it will take a minute or so for the water to start flowing out of the top alkaline spout. Let the water run for 1 to 2 minutes to flush the internal filter or until the water runs clear. You can now choose your alkaline setting and test your water using the reagent drops to see what pH you're getting. While the water's running, check all your connections for leaks, including the filter in the base unit. Once all the connections have been verified and there are no leaks, you can go ahead and reinstall the filter door. Do this by matching the tabs on the door with the slots on the back of the unit. Then hold the door firmly against the base and slide it down into the locked position. This completes the installation of your Delphi ionizer. Remember, the base unit will be located under the counter, while the faucet will be installed at the sink on the countertop. Enjoy your water. How to install the optional calcium insert into the mineral port on your Delphi ionizer. Position the ionizer so that you have access to the back of the unit. Open the mineral port by turning the cap counterclockwise a quarter turn and lift it out. If it's difficult to remove, you may need to use a butter knife to put in between to help get it out. On a new ionizer, there will be an empty basket installed, or if you've already been using a calcium insert, there will be a used calcium insert basket. Remove it and discard that basket. Take your new calcium insert. Be sure to remove the rubber cap from the insert. Never pour the calcium beads directly into the mineral port. Install the calcium basket into the cap. Then install the basket and the cap into the port. Close the lid and lock it into place by turning it a quarter turn clockwise as far as it'll go. This completes the calcium insert installation. How to replace your filter and reset your filter counter on a Delphi ionizer. For this demonstration, I will be showing all of the steps above the counter. Normally, the faucet is installed at your sink and the base unit is installed under the counter. You will know it's time to change your filter when your filter counter has all the bars lit, or at least once per year. Turn the base unit so that you can access the back of the unit. Remove the filter door by sliding it upward, then angle the door out and remove it from the ionizer. Remove the existing filter by pressing down at the top, angle the top out, and remove the filter. Install your new ultra water filter in the unit by matching the bottom hole with the protrusion on the filter base. Then press downward, angle the top in, and allow it to connect at the top of the filter compartment. Once the filter is installed, spin it back and forth several times with your hand. This helps to seat the O-rings at the top and bottom. Once the filter is installed, you will turn on the ionizer by using the power button on the top of the faucet. Change the setting to the filtered setting. Let the water run for 1 to 2 minutes or until the water runs clear to flush the new filter. Once the filter is finished flushing, touch the power button again to turn off the water. To reset the filter counter, you will use the filter reset button located in the filter compartment near the top. Press and hold the button for 3 to 5 seconds until you hear a ding from the ionizer. At that time, the bars that were lit up at the filter counter will go out. Now the filter counter has been reset. You can now replace the filter door, match the tabs on the filter door with the slots at the filter compartment, Hold the door firmly against the base and slide it downward to lock it into place. Enjoy your water.